It is Friday, April 7th. And on this day in history, the greats of screen, Russell Crowe, Jackie Chan, Francis Ford Coppola were born. You know what else is going to be born on April 7th? The greatest Superflex team that has ever been drafted in the history of mankind. And to help me with this task, I'm bringing on one of my co-workers from Rotogrinders, Mr. TJ Zwarych. So let's do it. TJ, thank you so much for joining us over here on Spike Week. We work so much together on everything else. It felt fitting to bring you on to Spike Week to do a draft with myself. How are you doing today?
Doing very well. I'm excited to talk some NFL with you. Obviously, we've had many Rotogrinders shows. We've talked some Batman. We've talked some Marvel before, and so I'm excited to dive into some NFL with you.
Yeah, and before we get into this, we should probably just drop your background for the people that are only best ball freaks. That you do a lot of content over at Rotogrinders. You do basketball, you do baseball, you do football, kind of do everything over there. And you said that you even dip your toes into the best ball streets. Maybe not so far this year because it's freaking April, and the real sickos are the ones drafting right now. But you want to talk a little bit about your stuff at Rotogrinders, and also for those of you that are into comic book stuff and just general fandom, TJ created a website that is amazing called Agents of Fandom, and you can hit on that a little bit too.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. So yeah, my Rotogrinders journey was kind of a cool one because I've been basically subscribed and following the website since I started playing DFS when I think I was like 18 or 19, which maybe wasn't legal because I'm in Canada and that's the legal age here, but in the States it was 21. And so how I started out was just like my dad was basically like, "Hey, you know a lot about this stuff. If I put a bunch of money in an account, would you want to pick some teams?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." And then that obviously grew to me doing it myself as I became more of an adult. And then 2 NBA seasons ago, started really just making more money and decided, hey, I'm not just going to take it out this time that I win big. I'm actually going to try and build something. And then ended up having a couple big 6-figure wins over the NFL season, and reached out to Rotogrinders and hopped on with an analyst role. And it's been a blast ever since, doing lots of content, and just started doing best ball leagues about a couple years ago, more less out of investment and more out of just like,
Mhm.
this is fun.
Yeah.
Like I was sitting at a I remember sitting at a lake one time, and I was just like on a nice chair out in the sun, and I pulled out my phone and started a draft, and my anxiety started getting mad at me, being like, "You're at a lake. Why are you on your phone? Like, you're outside to be doing something else." And then I thought to myself, like, there's literally nothing I'd rather do right now than draft a football team out in the sun. And that's when I really started getting into them. And then yeah, kind of sports and TV movie stuff are my bags. We started out Agents of Fandom focusing on kind of like the big three of comic book stuff with Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. And then as we've added many talented creators, it's grown to all aspects of TV and movies. And like just an article that we released, it's funny that on this day of bringing up Russell Crowe, we just released an article a couple days ago from one of our writers, Martha Wright's 7 most underrated Russell Crowe films. So
Oh, nice.
um, make sure to check that out as well.
Yeah, we did. You invited me to do a March Madness style bracket where we did almost like a best ball format where we did a snake draft, drafting characters from the MCU. And I implore everyone to go back and try to find those teams that were drafted. Me and TJ actually faced off against each other in the final four. I think there was some counting miss issues on that. We need a recount. TJ won. He ended up winning the whole thing. Congrats on that. But yeah, that was a lot of fun drafting those teams, and Agents of Fandom, definitely check it out. Now today, TJ, not only are we drafting a best ball team, we are drafting a Superflex best ball team. So I just want to explain the format to those who might be new to Superflex and the way Underdog does Superflex. So you get your 1 quarterback spot, you get your 2 running back spots. The twist is instead of 3 wide receivers, there are 2 wide receivers. There is a regular flex spot, and the super flex, of course, allows you to play a quarterback as well. So you do lose that wide receiver spot. You gain the super flex spot. Do you have any other questions, TJ? Are you ready to get this thing going?
No, I'm ready to do it. I love stacking myself up some teams nice and early, hoping you get that sneaky pass catcher later on in the draft. I'm ready.
All right, so we're jumping in, and let's just make sure our overlay is going to work here. It doesn't pop up until we fill. We got 6 people left, and Superflex is a lot of fun because it lets you start to think about things a little different than what you're normally thinking about for building your roster constructions. Quarterbacks get pushed way up. Me and Eric had a gigantic talk about that yesterday and how you should be attacking that situation. Um, it is just, it's a whole nother beast. And best ball is a whole nother beast. We get to do this pretty much every day of the year now. It's best ball is getting out of control. The content never stops. The tournaments never stop. We're drafting before the NFL draft, TJ. It is still like a month away before we're drafting actual NFL teams. We don't even have the schedule for the year, and we're drafting best ball teams because we are all complete sickos. Are you able to draft Underdog in Canada, or do you have to do draftings over there?
Yeah, I am able to draft Underdog in Canada. It's considered daily fantasy sports, and all daily fantasy sports are legal here. So prize picks, Underdog, both of those types of
Nice.
things, since they're considered DFS, I can do here. Just nothing that's sports betting, quote unquote.
Gotcha.
There are some like parlay type things you can do through that are like regulated by the government, where it's just like they release a bunch of lines in the morning and you're allowed to choose based on just specifically what they have, and it's all like taxed by the government, stuff like that. But
Mhm.
that's the type of thing that you usually have to like go to a gas station and find a kiosk for. And I mean, I never leave my house.
I tend to not leave my house either. I'm going to be bringing my dog for a walk later, but we'll be in the general vicinity of the household. Just a shout out to a couple people in the chat. We got Don Yeezy, who we usually see on our RG stuff. So thanks for jumping in here. We've got the Pound who's jumping in. We have Stephanie. We have Pang, and a couple of these people are in the draft with us. We get the 4th spot, which we just get squeezed out of that top 3. So we're going to have a decision to make at that point. Do we want to go Justin Fields? Do we want to go Joe Burrow? And we might as well just start talking it out now since it's going to be coming. Do you have a preference on Joe Burrow or Justin Fields this year?
I think Burrow, just based on the amount of other pass catchers we can stack with him in a best ball format.
Mm-hmm.
I think in like a regular daily fantasy or like week to week fantasy type format, I don't mind going Justin Fields there at all, because I like my rushing QBs. But in this setting where we're going to want to build a lot of correlation, I actually do like the idea of going Burrow and trying to get one of his pass catchers with him.
Yeah, I don't hate doing that either. And we can probably get a T. Higgins, a Tyler Boyd, an Irv Smith, or 2 of those on this. And the Bengals, as we know, are going to be one of the highest scoring offenses in the league. And I do like Justin Fields. I do like the rushing upside of Justin Fields. It's nice to have that, but I believe that his rushing is not going to be what it was last year. And it doesn't have to be for him to still be an absolute monster, right? Because he just like went out and crushed all year with the rushing stuff. But bringing in DJ Moore is going to allow the passing to open up. So I think he's going to be able to offset some of that. But I'm right with you. They're razor thin for me. You could take Burrow, you can take Fields. I'd be happy with either of them. It's after those 2 when you get to Justin Herbert and a super flex, when you have to start thinking, is it Justin Herbert or do you want Justin Jefferson? And that's where some of the issues get. I am seeing some of the regulars in this draft. We see a bunch of badges, vaporwares in here. We see Fantasy Dog Pound, Jumanji. So we are seeing a lot of the norms in this draft. Are you shocked by the first round QBs in the Superflex, or you think it's kind of par for the course?
No, I feel like that makes a lot of sense. The only thing that I feel like I would have differed with so far is
Mm-hmm.
I probably would have targeted Lamar Jackson a couple slots higher.
Yeah, I think people are really concerned about if he is actually going to play this year, which I think is fair, right? Because we don't know what his contract situation is going to be, if he's going to get traded or whatnot. And as we've talked about before on this show and others, of the players in the NFL, if you told me Lamar Jackson is going to hold out for the season, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. I wouldn't be shocked if he held out. So I think that's dropping him. But to your point, I think that allows you to get him, in that 5-6 spot over a guy like Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence. Because if Lamar plays, he's a better option than
Yeah,
those guys.
yeah,
By
that's kind
far.
of that's kind of where I'm at too.
And when I've been taking Lamar, I've been stacking him with the Atlanta Falcons because I'm dream scenarioing that, like, I'm galaxy braining a trade to Atlanta for him. And if I can get Lamar with Drake London or a Kyle Pitts, it's like wheels up for me if he goes there.
It's such an interesting thing how this adds such a strategic draft element where it's like we're up in a couple picks. We want to talk things through of who we're drafting, but
Oh, that's
we got listeners drafting in here with us, so we gotta keep it to like right when we're on the clock or right before it, and then make a quick decision.
yeah. So we are going to be up on the clock after Mario Solar here. And you're right. I've already seen Stephanie's in the chat. She said she doesn't mind that Lamar fell to her. So she's in here drafting. I know Peng's in here drafting. I know, like I said, Vaporware's in here. So everyone is watching us.
All
Do we
right.
smash AJ Brown here, or is there someone else you like?
Go to the QBs quick. I want to see. I honestly, I wouldn't hate the idea of picking Cousins.
We could do Kirk Cousins. I'm not of the mindset to typically go a second QB here.
Okay, then yeah, I'm down for AJ Brown.
No, this helps me get out of my wheelhouse a little bit.
Let's do it. Your mic just started going wonky again, for what it's worth. So I'll go on a little tangent while you adjust some things. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a decent drop after that. I like Goff quite a bit, and so would have been the one that I maybe would have been concerned about. I would have been okay with just like waiting a little bit and hoping we could get him later. But with the super flex, I don't mind taking 2 QBs early. It gives us a set strategy right from the get-go of like, all right, we know who we are going to be looking to stack with now.
Yeah, I don't hate it in that sense. I just think that there's quarterbacks that we can get later that are comparable to Kirk Cousins. So that's in my general draft strategy. I've been taking, if I get one of the elite 4 or 5 guys, I've kind of been kicking the can on my second quarterback. But again, this helps me get out of that comfort zone and allow me to do something different. So we are seeing that actually come to pass here. And we're going to be right on the clock again in a second. We see afterwards, AJ Brown obviously goes, Bijan Robinson, CeeDee Lamb, Saquon Barkley. I have an idea of where we should be going on our next pick, but I'll see if you concur when the time comes as we wait on Index to draft, who is also in the chat. Everybody's in the chat. It's friends and family draft, TJ.
I got a strong first choice here. We'll see if Index goes there. And he did.
All right, so we got to grab T.
T Higgins is exactly the next guy that I feel like we got to get right here. Yeah.
Yeah, we just grabbed T and stack him up. So
yeah.
Fine with that. I mean, I do like Garrett Wilson a lot, but when you have Joe Burrow, stacking him with Higgins just is the way to go here.
100%, and the mic just went all wonky again, but you fixed it really quick last time, so I'm not worried. I believe in you here. I like that we got a little stack here already. Obviously, we're not going to get Justin Jefferson with our Joe Burrow, but not that with our Kirk Cousins, but I think that's okay. prevented somebody else from doing it, and we got a nice little stack with Burrow and Higgins here.
Yeah, the thing with the mic is I'm trying a few different things because if you see on our draft screen, we have an overlay here that allows us to know the percentage of players that we have and everything, courtesy of Spike Week. So it's an overlay that you can get yourself over at spikeweek.com, but it has to be used on Firefox, and StreamYard for some reason absolutely hates Firefox. So I have to use StreamYard on Chrome, and then I have to use Firefox for the overlay. So I'm kind of experimenting with ways to make them both work so that we can show everything on stream. We'll get there. We will get there. All right.
What do we got here? Got Devontae Smith, Kenneth Walker. All right, still lots of heavy hitters on the board here. I'm liking the start to our team.
Yeah, we get the double quarterback, so we don't really need a third for a long time. I would say we can grab one of these flyer guys late because this is a 20-round draft, and we can kind of fire up our wide receivers and running backs now. And I think that with the quarterbacks getting pushed up, the third round running backs in normal drafts are getting pushed to this fourth round, and I think it allows you to get a solid first RB in general. We might lose out on that little tier because we're towards the end of the fourth round, but it is a part that I like. I guess my mic is real bad.
Yeah. It pop up the draft board back for us here, or not the draft board, the players remaining here. Almost our pick here, 2 remaining. Some great running backs we could go for if they happen to fall for us here. Let's look at this receiver position. Who's upcoming? That's Samuel Hopkins, maybe to another team. Okay. Derrick Henry just got drafted. Was hoping that would fall, but didn't. That's okay.
That's why it's good to have you on the show, because most of the people that we do best ball with want nothing to do with Derrick Henry. So hearing the names that people don't want is nice.
In theory, I want nothing to do with Derrick Henry, but this is a guy that we usually draft in the first round. And so at this point of Derrick Henry, I don't mind that whatsoever. Sitting here, I feel like I would go either DK or Debo. What do you think?
I do like DK. I like Ramondre a lot here. I would typically probably go Ramondre because I think there's a lot of good wide receiver options left, but you're the guest. Let's go with DK Metcalf and see what we can build through that in terms of the team.
Do it. I liked Ramondre in DFS a lot of the times. I just always hesitate with drafting Patriots running backs this early. Like it's maybe a bit of, I know that he's the guy here right now, but especially before a draft, like they could have 4 guys in that RB room that they're ready to use next year. And so that's kind of why I hesitate on taking him this early.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that thought process. But with Damian Harris going to Buffalo, and it's like Ramondre, and there are some guys in that backfield. We saw them bring in James Robinson, who I'm not even sure he's going to make the team, to be honest. Based on his deal, he can get cut at any time and not cost them anything. And there's like Pierre Strong and stuff, but I think Ramondre is going to get a healthy amount of the work there. It just makes sense for them to kind of hammer him. The concern would be the draft, right? If they draft a guy early to kind of go with that 2-headed monster again. So I could see that as well.
Yeah, 100%. That's kind of how I'm looking things as well. Debo Samuel slip in, I find interesting here all the way to this point. But yeah, I don't know. Back to like the Ramondre Stevenson, I think the most likely outcome is he does have a monster season. It's just with what we've seen the Patriots do, splitting work between multiple guys in the past. If a running back like Stevenson has, especially, I mean, if they're having a strong season, they're in the playoff, they're fighting for the playoffs, that'll be a different story. But we've just seen them late in years spread things out, especially if they're not in it. So I just the draft capital of that early on Ramondre, it does worry me. I like Debo here. What about you?
I like Debo in the 5th round. I mean, he's our 3rd wide receiver. The upside is tremendous with him still, and I think the concern and why he's dropping a bit, he didn't really produce like some people thought he would last year, which was fine. I didn't think he was going to get that running back role again like he had 2 years ago. It just would have been a little silly. And the other concern is the quarterback, right? Is Brock Purdy even going to play this year? Is he going to be ready for week 1? What the hell is Trey Lance going to be? Are they going to play Sam Darnold at some point? Like that QB situation is such a mess right now that people are like pushing some of these 49ers down the board a little bit. So I think you're getting a value at Deebo Samuel currently that might not be there in a couple more weeks.
Yeah, I think that is the case as well. I think that is very well put. I feel at some point we are eventually going to have to start mixing in some Vikings here with our Kirk Cousins. I see why maybe that wasn't the best idea to pick him so early. I'm learning that now, but that's okay. I don't hate it. That's still, I feel like that's just he's a good floor guy. You know what I mean? Like he's a guy that at any point in the season, you're pretty good to lock 15 to 20 points into your into that spot.
Yeah, he is definitely an advance rate guy where a lot of Kirk Cousins teams are going to help get you to the playoffs. The question becomes, is Kirk Cousins a guy that can win you a tournament? So that's where we have to figure out, these are things we're still learning with best ball. Just because Kirk Cousins helps get you to the dance, can he win you the dance?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
No, so but Joe Burrow can.
No, but Joe Burrow definitely can. And having the floor of 25 points or 20 points from Kirk Cousins could be a thing. Again, Superflex best ball is even more unknown than regular best ball. I'm getting roasted in the chat for my audio. This is why we do these
notes so bad.
Drafts. Is it? See, the problem is I can't leave because I think it'll just completely kill the stream.
Just do the regular old computer audio and just see how it sounds for a while.
Oh, I don't know if I can do that. That might be bad.
He's back. He's back for a while. Let's see how long it goes. But that soft, smooth voice is that deep radio voice is back. How many picks before us here? 3 coming up. We obviously need a running back at some point here, but when it comes back up to us, I got 2 picks that are standing out to me, but I'll when it comes up to us here, we'll see which one you'd prefer out of these 2 guys.
All right, I am back. Let's hope that this is working a little bit better. Trying some stuff with my little audio interface. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound beautiful.
I always sound so beautiful. I'm sorry that you guys couldn't hear how great I sounded today. I have some thoughts on where I would like to go here, but I am going to be totally open to you on this one. Who are you thinking right now?
2 routes, either George Kittle, because we already have Debo and it could let us get another San Fran quarterback later in this, or Dalvin Cook and kind of stack up this Minnesota offense here. So whichever one you prefer of those 2.
I do like both of them. Let's grab Cook so that we have more of this Minnesota offense.
I like it.
Hopefully, I mean, I don't think he's going to get cut at this point. It seems like he's going to stay in Minnesota. Not 100% though, but we will see. And the thing is, Dalvin Cook is going to play somewhere this year if he's not in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So
the mic issues are back. The audio is popping all in and out again. It's weird. It just sounds like it's every second is like it's like in out, pops in and out here. But if Kittle comes back to us here, I definitely still think that's the route we go. But with so many of our drafters in here, who knows if they want to pluck him out from under us. But I think that could be some good later draft correlation if we roll with Kittle when he falls to us.
I concur. Give me one. After this pick, I'm going to try something else, and we're going to see if it works for the audio. I'm sorry about
You're
this,
back as
everybody.
it stands right now. Like, as that statement was back to normal.
It only works when I apologize. So I just have to keep
Yeah.
saying, I'm sorry, we're about to take this person, or I'm sorry.
Be Canadian
we're
for
going to take
this
this
show,
guy
and then
instead.
we're good.
All right, buddy. Start hitting my South Park
Just say
buddy
sorry,
guy.
eh? Just say sorry more, eh? And just be really apologetic about everything, and then you're good, eh?
That's what we can do here. So we've probably setting ourselves up for failure. Everyone knows we want George Kittle. I have a suspicion that Index might take him if T. Cripe doesn't take him, but we will see if he falls to us or not. There are people that I like if he doesn't fall.
Who before I brought up Cook and Kittle, who was the one you were thinking about?
Kittle was a guy I was going to mix in. So we can get Kittle here if you want to go Kittle. I'm fine with going that route.
Let's do it. I like that correlation.
Kittle was the guy. The other guy that I was looking at was Drake London.
Mm-hmm.
I like Drake London a lot this year.
Yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, especially if you get Lamar there as well.
Correct. We are gonna, for 1 second, remove the draft. Unfortunately, I am gonna get rid of the overlays and see if this helps. If I can just do a little different here, maybe it'll help the audio. I have a feeling it's not going to, but here we are. How do I sound? Do I sound great again?
You do.
That's what I like to hear. I like drafting at the ends. God, do I hate drafting from the middle, especially in these super flex drafts. So I'm glad we get the 4, because once we start to get to 5, 6, 7, I think that it's tougher to kind of set up what you want to do in these drafts. And that's not just super flex. That's like every draft. You kind of get put in in no man's land. And you kind of sometimes have to reach a little more. Not that I'm against reaching, but yeah. So what I'm doing here is I've switched everything over to Chrome and just kind of.
We have lost Brock and Trey.
We lost Brock and Trey.
Yeah.
Yeah. 7th round Brock Purdy. Enjoy. I can't do 7th round Brock Purdy right now.
No, that's where I'm at too. There's way too many other good players available. What I like about that too is just like San Fran has such a concentrated offense that most of the time it's going to be McCaffrey, it's going to be Debo, or it's going to be Kittle. And it's rare that all three of them have huge games. Like, it's usually one of them that has the monster game. And so I'm really fine with having these San Fran players without their quarterback, because it might be 3 different quarterbacks throughout the year. And then in addition to that, like, Kittle and Samuel probably aren't going to have that many big games together. It's going to be Kittle has a 3-touchdown day one day. Samuel has a 3-touchdown day one day. McCaffrey has a 3-touchdown day one day. That's kind of how they roll.
Yeah, and don't forget Brandon Ayuk's going to mix in there and take some of that stuff too. So it does get very concentrated. I do like having both of them. And they might be the type of players, the teammates that you have, to your point. Maybe George Kittle goes off week 15 and he pulls you through to the next round of the playoffs. And then Debo goes off week 16. And boom, having both of the San Fran guys got you through, even though they didn't help on the same week. So that's why I don't mind taking 2 San Fran guys like that. I like McCaffrey a ton this year too, though. So
yeah, I'm with you. I have one guy who was my highest owned running back last year that I'm excited to pick later in the draft.
Please tell me it's DeAndre Swift, because that's where I'd like to go right now. But who are you thinking?
If you like DeAndre, let's do it. No, this is something I was talking about for later. I don't hate the idea of going Mixon. Okay, that's all right.
Well, so we had a gigantic Joe Mixon discussion yesterday.
Yeah.
And we drafted him, and we were going back and forth in chat. And we were talking about his charges because he got into some trouble with the law.
Right.
It all got dismissed. Well, they're refiling the charges today, of course. So the Mixon thing is very. I still think he's going to be fine this year, and I'm going to take some shots on him in this 8th, 9th round range because the legal system does not move quick. And we saw with Alvin Kamara last year, even though those charges are being quote unquote filed, I don't think he's not going to play football. It becomes an optics thing if teams want to get rid of him. And I think the Bengals can save like 10 million against the cap if they release him after June 1st. So there's a lot of questions with Joe Mixon going into this year.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, but I do understand the value. I might mix him in, no pun intended, here and there. But yeah, it gets a little bit scary. And I don't think it's because of the legal issues. I think it's because of the optics of what the team might think. I think it was like he pulled a gun on somebody. And I think it was a woman. And the Bengals might be like, yep, no, thank you. Don't need that on our team. We'll get rid of you. So the NFL, man, there's too many players. You got to keep track of too many things in the off season. So we are going to be coming back up on the clock.
He does fit this build of ours if he falls, but there is one other player that's a DFS darling for me that I see here. But another strategy, maybe I'll put it in the private chat here, but there's another strategy I like. I was big on for best ball last year. It didn't work, but the same potential strategy is working out this year as it looks. So we'll see what we think here. What do you think? I was thinking my DFS darling I was talking about was Kadarius Toney.
Oh, that's you're speaking to my heart right now. I want Kadarius Toney on pretty much every team, so I am down to take Kadarius Toney on this team.
Let's do it.
So he is my MVS with more upside this year. We're getting Kadarius Toney. Most drafts, the 7th round Superflex, he gets pushed down to the 9th because of the quarterback thing. But 7th round Kadarius Toney he's either going to burn all your teams, right? Or he is going to be the reason you advance most of your teams that have Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
His talent is immense. He's on one of the best offenses in the league. He's going to get the work. We saw them manufacture touches for him all offseason. Now he's had a whole year in the system, which means they'll find more ways to get him the football as long as he stays healthy. And that's a big if with him. Kadarius Toney to the moon. He'll probably, I don't want to say he's going to be my highest owned player, but he's going to be a top 5 owned player for me this year if his ADP stays 6th, 7th round, I would say.
Yep, I like that. I love it.
And I don't know how you are, but if I get guys that I think are completely misvalued, I will take them almost every draft. I had 50% Patrick Mahomes last year, right? Because he was misvalued.
I did that last year as well with a few players. Some of them worked very well. Some of them not so much. I think I ended up basically just like breaking even, maybe making a couple bucks in best ball last year. Nothing crazy though. I typed in the private chat here in StreamYard these guys that I'd like to start taking some shots on here because I think there's some very high upside for where they're being drafted.
I agree with that, and we will talk about it very, very shortly. It is a conversation that we had a little bit of yesterday. We didn't talk about it last year because I didn't talk about the Saints last year. Was not in on the Saints at all, but things have changed quite a bit down there in New Orleans. I think bringing in Derek Carr is good, and I'm just blowing it, right? We were doing this without talking about the team.
Yeah, we were going to be secretive.
We were, and I just rambled. Just started rambling. That's what I do.
Your mic starts working for a second, and here you are just burying away, giving away all the fellow drafters our strategy.
Just like I need to talk while the mic's still working. But I'm glad that this experiment has worked. Seeing as how the mic's working again, we just cannot run StreamYard and Chrome and also use Firefox. So back to the drawing board on that one. We'll make it work though in the future.
Yeah, that's all right. You live and you learn. It's my first time here on the show. We haven't figured out our cohesiveness, sneaky draft strategy yet.
No, we have not.
We haven't figured out our code.
Well, the thing that we should do is we should draft on like a 10-second delay or something like that. Like
Mm.
poker streamers do. That would be the play, probably. We'll gander into that in the future.
Is Mario in the chat? Is Mario here? Mario is out here in theaters right now.
Yeah, are you going to see it?
Yeah, I will for sure. It's not something that I felt like I needed to see opening night, but I'll definitely go see it. There it is. Alvin Kamara is still available. We're talking about the Saints, and somebody went to Mike Thomas, and I don't get me wrong, I love the potential upside for Mike Thomas as well, but Alvin Kamara in the 10th round, that's just wild to me because this could be a first round talent.
That was actually me being sneaky, where I started talking about Derek Carr, the quarterback, and strayed everybody away from the running backs. So thank you.
Everybody thought we screwed up, but
the
sneaky worked.
I've never made a mistake in my life, which is something that most people don't know, but it's true. Everything is for a reason, and I have plans for this type of stuff.
And so I don't mind even bringing this up now, because now that we have Kamara, because I don't know what you think about potentially doing this anyways. I think going somebody like Jamal Williams would obviously significantly lower our ceilings while raising our floors alongside Kamara. And I do think this is maybe like, I think the value on Kamara going in the 10th round is crazy high, whereas the value on Jamal Williams going in the 10th round is like, yeah, that's probably about where he should go. But that was the guy I was talking about. I didn't realize he was getting drafted this high this year, but that's the guy I was talking about last year, who was my highest owned running back, and he was essentially the reason why I made money last year.
Yeah, I wish I had drafted more Jamal Williams. Not that I didn't draft him, but he completely crushed. I like it from the aspect that whoever takes Alvin Kamara is not going to be taking Jamal Williams. Generally,
yeah.
That double tap is not happening. So you're allowing yourself for a unique combination. Like you said, though, it completely limits your upside between the two.
This is, I think, about where he should get drafted, so I don't think we should reach on him yet. I think we should try and go elsewhere. What are the potential receivers available right now? And then also, who is Cincinnati's backup?
Do we want to grab KJ Osborne and get that stack with Kirk Cousins?
Yes.
Your cat agrees with us.
Yeah.
So I do like grabbing.
We might as well add Tyler Boyd and Adam Thielen to the pool, just so we don't to the queue, just so we don't forget about him.
My friend Adam Thielen is no longer in Minnesota.
Where is Adam Thielen now?
He's in Carolina.
Good for Carolina. I knew that. I forgot about that one.
He was put out to pasture. He's probably all done.
So who's the expected wide receiver 3 in Minnesota this year?
I don't know if he's there. There's been a lot of rumblings about them drafting a wide receiver. So you might see them draft somebody. They haven't really brought anybody in, and I haven't looked at the depth chart to see who they might. I think Jalen Reagor was their 4th last year, and I'm not sure if he's still under contract there or not. I'm sorry, chat, that I did not do my Jalen Reagor homework in the offseason, but I did not. I did not do that. God, do you remember when we had to talk about Jalen Reagor for like a week or two last year for like half a second?
Yeah, that wasn't fun. But the chat seemed to like the kitty appearance. They clearly the regular Rotogrinders viewers they know, but my cat and 2 dogs, they make frequent appearances on my streams.
Well, mine is just wanting to get drawn like one of your French girls right now as he's laying.
Oh, love a good upside down boy.
As he's laying down there. Classic Gotham pose. Weirdest dog ever. Best dog ever, though. So good. All right. We are still a ways away. Let me throw this board back up. We see Damian Harris go. We did see Jamal Williams go at the end of the round, right before Khalil Herbert. Madison goes. Madison would have been a nice back to get on this team as well. To do that double stack with. I wouldn't mind doing something like that. Madison, I think, has the potential to be the most undervalued running back in the entire draft right now, especially if they get rid of Dalvin Cook, they did re-sign him. They do want to use him. We do see them use him quite a bit when Dalvin Cook isn't playing. So there is a chance that you see Alexander Madison rocket up your draft boards after, June 1st or whatever they decide to do with Dalvin Cook.
Yeah,
Do you
that
want
makes a
to
lot of sense.
hear my fun Dalvin Cook and James Cook fact? The chat has probably already heard this,
Yes, of course.
but it blew my mind. So they're brothers, correct?
Yes.
So James Cook.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I had no idea.
They are brothers. James Cook's name is James Dalvin Cook, and Dalvin Cook's name is Dalvin James Cook.
That seems crazy. You just made that up.
It's a fact. It is a fact. We are on the clock.
Tyler Boyd.
Tyler. Oh yeah, we can grab Boyd and do that double stack with Cincy. I'm down for that. Let's do it. A lot of correlation on this team.
I love correlation for best ball.
I do too. And shout out to Michael Leone. If you follow him, he just released a chart showing week 17 correlation and the tremendous upside that it has actually drafting for week 17 correlation. Not that we can do that right now, but we are correlating teams, which is help you correlate week 17. And, maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe the Bengals, I don't even know if the Bengals are playing the Vikings this year. I don't know their opponents off the top of my head, but maybe we get lucky with a Bengals Vikings correlation if the AFC North is playing the NFC North.
I feel like a running back could also be somewhere since he goes in the draft, but like who is, because Piron's gone, so who is Mixon's backup right now?
Yeah, it's Chris Evans, and I don't know if he's going to be an every down back. And with the Mixon stuff, they're definitely probably going to draft a guy.
I don't mind the idea of getting Evans later, though, just since we have Burrow, since we don't really want the every down back. We want a pass catcher anyways, but
I agree.
What are we thinking here? 15 seconds left.
This is where it starts to get pretty
Taysom is a tight end. Take him.
You want to do the Taysom Hill tight end?
Taysom Hill should not be a tight end. And he's great for best ball because you do not have to worry about when to start him. He will just randomly have 20-point games. If he has a stretch this year, he has to start at QB or something. You'll win a draft. And so what if he starts at QB for the Saints in week 17?
I mean, that was the big topic last year, was what if he starts at QB? There's a lot of paths that have to go through for that to happen, because now that Derek Carr is there, they re-signed Jameis Winston. You need basically what happened to the 49ers against the Eagles to happen in order for Taysom to actually start at QB. But are they going to still manufacture plays for him to run the ball? Or he's, like you said, he's not a tight end, but what the hell do you define him as, right? So I want to go over.
Anytime he's available as a tight end, I like getting him because, I'm a Saints fan too, don't get me wrong, but the potential correlation that we now have for just getting that Saints rushing upside, that Saints rushing touchdown equity with Kamara and Hill, but also if Hill throws a touchdown pass to Kamara this year, we're cooking that week.
Absolutely. Let's go over our team real quick. We're almost 75% through the draft. So we have Joe Burrow and Kirk Cousins as our quarterbacks, Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Swift, Alvin Kamara at RB, T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel, Kadarius Toney, KJ Osborne, Tyler Boyd at wideout, George Kittle, and Taysom Hill at tight end. Actually, I like the way this team is stacking up currently. And there's a few more things we can do to enhance it in these later rounds. But we will see. We'll see what the chat does, since the entire chat's in here ruining our draft.
The other thing I love about getting Taysom Hill as a tight end is he's a tight end you don't have to stack with a quarterback. And so say you have Travis Kelce, but you don't have Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce has a big game. Well, you could still end up losing to a guy who has Patrick Mahomes and another tight end that does well that week. Taysom Hill could just have 2 rushing touchdowns, and you're not worried about having that it's better, because that actually takes away from the person who has Derek Carr. So I love the draft strategy of taking him at tight end.
Yeah, I don't hate it, and he might be a guy. Again, I keep saying this particular stream. I don't know if he's going to rocket up the draft boards. He might move up a little bit, but I do think that the double QB situation with New Orleans this year might hold that at bay. It's not an Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston. Derek Carr did get paid a lot of money to go there. So I think that's going to back people off. But again, he's
Ooh,
going to
we
get
better.
manufactured touches. He's going to get manufactured touches. So,
Yeah.
all right. So I do think we need a RB. And when we have some solid running backs like Cook, Swift, Kamara, I would like to take a shot on a rookie like Rashawn Johnson over some of these other guys that are here. Does anyone jump out to you?
No, I'm good with that. Let's do it.
Just to kind of mix in, just in case he does. I mean, Rashawn Johnson might be the guy that goes to Cincinnati, right? In the
Yeah, or
draft.
like what if Cincinnati's running back next year is Dalvin Cook and
Oh,
Roshan is on Minnesota?
yeah. I mean, that's the fun part of drafting so early is we can galaxy brain anything we want.
Yeah,
We can be like, well, I drafted him because this, and this, and no one can really argue with you on it at all.
I love it. I do see a potential player here that I like, but I also think give that running back tab a little click here. I want to see who is kind of around this range. Somebody like a Cordero Patterson, I think, is always interesting for best ball because you don't have to worry about ever starting him. He's just the guy that will randomly have big weeks. But I don't necessarily know if that's somewhere we got to go at this point. Where does Chris Evans usually get drafted?
Where does who usually get drafted?
Chris Evans.
Much later. So we'll look at it in a second. If it were me, I would be taking another stab on a rookie or Kareem Hunt here because we don't know. Kareem Hunt could definitely go to Cincinnati, right? And we know that there is some upside. He could be dust, but I would be looking at Kareem Hunt, maybe Sean Tucker. Kendre Miller is the other guy I really like towards the end of the drafts here.
I'm good with taking a running back shot that you think is best, or the other guy I was looking at was Raheem Shaheed, a speed threat for the Saints that could potentially correlate with Taysom Hill, and I just like him.
I was also looking at Shaheed, but unfortunately, Index did snipe him right before us.
Oh, right before us. Nice pick,
Yep.
Index.
All right, so we're going to grab Sean Tucker to grab another rookie running back here just to take some shots on goal with the rookies. And when we're talking about players that are going to go up draft boards, a lot of these rookie running backs are going to shoot up, right? Because once they get drafted and we know their position, if you do have one of these guys go to Cincinnati or, insert team X that needs a running back on a good offense, hell, I don't think it's going to happen, but, even the Kansas City Chiefs could draft somebody if they want to try to give Pacheco some competition there in the backfield. And there's other teams. Miami re-signed both of their guys. Miami might still draft a running back. I mean, Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert aren't really spring chickens. So we can galaxy brain the rookie running backs everywhere, but when they do get drafted, I do think some of these guys are going to shoot up your draft boards. So
that was the other guy I had a ton of last year that helped was Pacheco.
He was good until he started going, you want to talk about a guy shooting up draft boards towards the end of the year. Pacheco went from undrafted to, top whatever he went. I think it was like round 8, maybe higher. Him and Dameon Pierce.
I had a lot of Pacheco in like the 10th through 15th round.
Yeah, and that was the way to do it. At some point, the opportunity cost just got out of control, in my opinion, with the uncertainty.
Not even 10th, more like 12th through 18th round.
Yeah. All right, so we're starting to see some of these guys that we're just taking shots on, like DJ Chark, who is also in Carolina now, Michael Gallup, who could be better coming off that injury for the second year, but he's also getting older. Could be the dust. Could be dust.
Too.
And Cooks is there with CD. They do not have. Oh my God, who's the tight end that's not there anymore?
Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, Dalton Schultz isn't there anymore, but I don't think that's going to matter too much to Gallup getting more targets. I do think that he might just be a guy that I fade in these back ends. of drafts. Fournette going in the 16th round feels real good based on some of the stuff we talked about earlier. Do I love Leonard Fournette? No, but 16th round Leonard Fournette, who could go on a 1-year deal to a team that absolutely needs him again, like Cincinnati. Someone's going to Cincinnati if they release Mixon, is the overall point for today's episode. Whereas yesterday we were pounding the table for Joe Mixon. 24 hours, baby. Things change.
All right. Who is available for us here? Almost back up. What do we can basically pick any position we want now.
Yeah, we can. Let's see who's available at QB. I wouldn't mind taking a shot on Hendon Hooker here as a rookie QB. We do have 2 solid ones, and Hooker is starting to get pushed up real draft boards. So that's a place we could go. There's an outside shot. He's a starter midway through the year. Anything
or Huntley.
Or Huntley.
Because Huntley could just be the starter for the year.
All right, we'll go with Tyler Huntley. I totally agree. He just looked real bad last year.
Yeah, but I mean, he got a little bit of rushing upside.
Yeah, I don't mind it too much. So
it just like to me that seems like a bye week guy that is the most likely to be starting of the people remaining.
Agreed. Although Bailey Zappi might be the New England starter this year. That is in contention to happen with all of the Mac Jones rumors going on right now. Mac Jones hates it in New England. I understand. I live here. I get it.
I get
it. No, I will make fun of New England all day, but no one else is allowed to. That's how it works. But I will make fun of Canada, just so you know.
Yeah, that's the thing with Americans making fun of Canadians is like it doesn't actually bother us because we know how much better the quality of life is here.
Just want to point out that's a great Captain America shield you have over your shoulder. Where is the Captain Canada one?
If you think for a second Steve Rogers would be okay with the state of America right now, you got another thing. Steve Rogers stands for universal health care. Steve Rogers.
You are gonna get Spike Week canceled, sir. Please. So we're looking. You liked Cordell Patterson about 14 rounds ago. We can still grab him.
Or somebody like Isaiah Hodgins, I don't mind here either. I think that's a high upside receiver at this point in the draft.
Thank you, because I'm going to let you know Cordell Patterson is my least favorite player in the NFL. He's 170 years old, somehow still gets fantasy production, and it drives me crazy every week when I'm playing DFS. Every Cordell Patterson touchdown, I want to throw my phone against the wall. So I'm glad you decided not to. I was going to do it for you because we're friends, but I will have 0% Cordell Patterson this year. That is a fact. No, thank you. I've also, the one little tidbit is I heard that Atlanta is planning on drafting a running back. And if they do draft the running back that I heard, then Cordell Patterson is not going to see the field. That's all I'm going to say on that. Draw your conclusions on that statement. But that is the one inside info I gotten in the NFL this year.
Is 3 QBs kind of where we want to stick, or is there value in potentially trying to find a fourth?
If we went fourth, I would say we'd want to wait till the 20th round on that. Okay. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think we'd want to potentially just build out our other 3 positions over the next 2 picks. And then I think grabbing a backup QB in the 20th is fine because there's guys that make a lot of sense in the backup role that if they come in, they could provide some actual upside.
And then in terms of if we're only starting 1 tight end every week, is it worth grabbing a fourth, or should we be? Oh, we only have 2.
We only have Kittle and Taysom Hill, so I do think a third is okay, especially because it's 20 rounds. If it was 18 rounds, once you grab George Kittle, I don't think you want more than 2. Mm-hmm. But with 20 rounds, I think that we can definitely grab another tight end.
Okay, cool. I got somebody in mind. We will see if they're there.
Yeah. there are. I think I know where we're looking at here, and I'm totally okay with that if that's the case. So we got a few more picks to go through here, and we'll see
It's
if
gonna end
people
up being
try.
absolute perfect timing. I got to get on to MLB crunch time in 30 minutes, so that's just gonna be a great transition.
Yeah, you can go on. You can go and say that you were with the best co-host on Rotogrinders, and now you have to deal with whatever peasants you're working with today. Hopefully, it's Roth.
I would typically agree with you, but I think it's sacrilegious to refer to Dave Potts' Cheese is Good as a peasant when it comes to MLB baseball.
I was just really hoping it was Kevin Roth. I really wanted you to go in there. Are we going
Isaiah
with likely?
Likely?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Let's do
Get
it.
that Tyler Huntley stack.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. No, I was hoping we could roast Kevin Roth a little bit. Who is my other nemesis at Rotogrinders. We missed you in Nashville, TJ. I had a lot of fun with Kevin Roth.
I really wish I could have gone next year. I will definitely make a concerted effort to be there, but I had a just like before I even knew about it, trip planned to California and met up with a bunch of people I work with at Agents of Fandom, met with a bunch of friends in person for the first time, and so couldn't swing both of them. But next year I'll definitely make it a priority.
Totally understandable. Yeah, I went out with Roth, Dean, Eric, of course, Lord Reeves, Daigle. It was a lot of fun over there in Nashville. So I'm looking forward to it again next year. All right, we are on the clock. Do we want to look for Chris Evans here? See if he's available?
Yeah, I like that.
Let's go ahead. Let's grab Chris Evans. We'll get this Cincinnati running back. Make sure we have him. And then when we get that 20th round, we'll see what's left on the board. Let's scroll down here and see what happens.
I feel like the upside with Evans isn't super high, but he's the type of guy that he might have a couple big weeks this year if he does get the solidified role of like third down running back this season, especially with Joe Burrow. So 19th round, I like the correlation shot.
Yeah, and he's going to be a guy that's drafted in the 18th round in standard drafts, especially with Joe Burrow team. So I'm okay with grabbing a 19th round Chris Evans on this team. Again, I think that Mixon or someone else is going to be the early 2-down back, but Evans definitely has a chance of being the 3rd-down back on this team, kind of taking over that P. Ryan role a little bit. I got Pang in the chat. I guess he's doing a 5-6-6-3 build with 5 quarterbacks, so that's going to be fun. We'll gander at that team real quick. Pang, what is your name on here?
There's somebody with 5 QBs up there, so I assume that could be him.
That's got to be him. Yeah, we'll find it later. I should know Pang's name. Pang is in the drafts all the time. I don't know it. I do know that Stephanie is super shorty. Vaporware is Vaporware. That was a hard one to put together. I wasn't sure if Vaporware was Vaporware. I was accused of multi-accounting at one point last year because there's somebody called King CO that drafts, and it's not me. And people were like, "That's got to be Rob." And spoiler alert, not me. So Jumanji is Pang, and I thought that was Davis. Oh, these 20-round drafts, man, they take a little bit.
I like it, man. This is fun. Thanks so much for having me on. This has been a really good time.
No problem, TJ. We'll have you back on some point in the summer, and we'll do like a standard draft of Best Ball Mania or a puppy or something like that, so that we can get you on stream. I'm sure you'll be a little bit more in the football streets by that point too. That's the problem with bringing people on this early, is I totally understand not being in the football mindset when you're doing all this basketball and baseball content right now.
Well, that's the thing. Like, there's a couple things I'm not up to date on, and like what rookies are gonna get drafted where I'm not up to date on. So for that, I like relying on you. But in general, I'm kind of always half in the football mindset. So
keeping your ear to the ground. I like Bailey Zappi or Marcus Mariota here. Mariota obviously is in case anything happens to Jalen Hurts over in Philadelphia. but I do think Zappy has the outright chance of being the starter in New England this year.
Sure, I'm good with it. The only other guy I'd want to consider would be Winston. So,
oh, that would be a good one too. Just the injury contingency with some of our New Orleans Saints. I wouldn't hate that. That would have been a good pick as well. So that is going to do it for this draft. We have Joe Burrow, Kirk Cousins, Tyler Huntley, Bailey Zappi at QB, Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Swift, Alvin Kamara, Roshan Johnson, Sean Tucker, Chris Evans at RB, T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Debo, Kadarius Toney, KJ Osborne, Tyler Boyd, Isaiah Hodgins at wide receiver, and Kittle, Hill, and Isaiah Likely at tight end. I think we're pretty solid all the way around on this team. Our correlation is great. Kind of nailed it. I think we won the tournament. What do you think?
I like it. I'm a big fan of this team. Any team that fits together well, I'm never going to be upset with in a best ball draft. Like, as long as I get some pass catchers with my quarterback, as long as I didn't have any egregious reaches, I'm going to be pretty happy with it. And so I like this team. I think we got, especially like if you look at our running back position, we have a good mixture of players who are like really high ceilings, but they also have low floors, with a couple guys who should be steady all season long for us. So I like the mixture that we have here quite a bit. Not only should we get on for a regular draft here in the summer, but we should do another one where we stream together and I'll just try and hop in the same draft.
Oh, we could do that too. That would be fun.
Double it down.
Real quick before we go, I'm going to look at Pang's team just because he drafted 5 QBs. He went Rodgers, Carr, Mayfield, Mike White, Kyle Trask. He has Najee Harris, Jamar Gibbs, Zach Charbonnet, Brian Robinson, Devin Singletary, Gus Edwards at RB. Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Jerry Jeudy, Michael Thomas, Alan Lazard, Van Jefferson at wideout, and Goddard, Higbee, Henry at tight end. I guess if you're going to do a 5 QB build, this is the way to do it, where you're like, all right, I guess I'll take 2 of these from the trash heap every week and find a way to get him in my lineup, with Aaron Rodgers being your first QB. It's relatively solid. You're doing the double Tampa Bay just to confirm you got your Tampa Bay starter. I don't completely hate that as well currently. So if you're going to do it, not the worst way to do it. Your RBs are kind of fun as well. And you're obviously having Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp is an absolute smash at wideout. So other than that, TJ, where can people find you? I guess they can find you in about 30 minutes on RG.
Can find me in about 30 minutes on Crunch Time for MLB today, but on socials, you can find me TJ_Zwarych5, ZWARYCH5. I don't really care if you follow me or not, but definitely follow the Agents of Fandom. It's at Agents of Fandom on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, everywhere. And then on Twitter, it's at Agents Fandom. We're covering all TV, movies, gaming, anime, and we've just started branching out into sports as well. And so did a lot of WrestleMania coverage, and we're just started diving into some soccer, some NHL, some NBA, NFL as well. So make sure you check out agentsfandom.com. And yeah, thanks so much for having me on, Rob. This has been a lot of fun.
No problem, man. Anytime. We will catch you on Sunday. I will be doing a solo stream Sunday morning, doing another draft, doing a Superflex. So until Sunday, we'll see you next time. Peace.